4 Florida metros are projected to lead the nation in cooling home prices in 26. At the same time, a single Naples address just hit the market for $17,959,000. That's split, prices easing in everyday neighborhoods, while ultra-luxury surges defines the moment. In 26, a national price increase of 2.2% year-over-year is expected, yet nearly a quarter of the top 100 markets may log declines. Florida stands at the center of that adjustment. Cape Coral is projected to drop 10.2%, Northport 8.9%, Deltona and Tampa both 3.6%. Those are not small numbers. They follow a statewide median listing price that was already down 6% in the first half of 22.5 compared to the same period in 22.3. In Tampa, the retail landscape tells a different story. Second best market in the country across 43 metros with at least 100 million square feet of inventory, ranked on occupancy, availability, rent growth, sales momentum, and total return. This is a two-speed Florida. What set it in motion? A pandemic surge in buyers lifted prices at a speed Florida hadn't seen in a generation. In Cape Coral, demand for sunshine pushed home values up an estimated 62.5 to 70% during COVID. Then came a reset. Mortgage costs rose after the Federal Reserve began hiking rates in 2002. Insurance bills swelled. Condos were hit with new safety requirements passed after the Surfside tragedy, rules that mandated greater funding for maintenance and inspections. Those mandates triggered special assessments in many buildings, quietly lifting monthly costs and cooling demand. The pullback shows up in the numbers. Statewide median listing prices down 6% in the first half of 2025, 4 Florida metros on the top 10 list for projected 2026 declines ranging from 3.6 to 10.2%. Signals suggest this correction is pricing and policy working in tandem. On the ground in Lee County, the shift is visible in Cape Coral. An analysis flagged a 7.1% annual price decline there in September, the largest in Florida and the second largest nationwide at the time. Local agents described recent drops of 5 to 10% after that 65 to 70% COVID run-up, followed by more homes coming to market after Hurricane Ian and slower sales. Pair that with rising insurance premiums and higher mortgage rates, and the arithmetic gets tough for buyers. The 22.6 projection, down 10.2%, fits the arc. A market that soared, took a breath, and is now seeking balance. Northport, a short drive north across the river and into Sarasota County, is right behind at negative 8.9%. The scale of those figures, over 8% in a single year, signals a broad repricing across parts of Southwest Florida. Yet, even as resale prices cool, new projects keep marching. In Manatee and Sarasota counties, a national builder just closed on land to deliver a 1,200-home community in Lakewood Ranch, marketed as resort-style living. North of there, in Orange Park, healthcare is expanding. A freestanding emergency room with a price tag of $26 million opened under a statewide network now topping 350 facilities. Those numbers speak to migration and need. And inside Lee County, where Cape Coral sits, public safety is quietly scaling too. 258 automated external defibrillators now sit across parks, libraries, and government offices. 73 of them are dedicated to parks. Emergency crews respond to 20 to 30 cardiac calls at park locations each year. Population growth demands infrastructure. The spending shows confidence, even while for-sale prices adjust. Look east to Hillsborough County, and the legal groundwork for the next cycle is being set. The Live Local Act, signed in 2023, removes local restrictions and approval processes for developers seeking to build affordable housing on sites zoned for industrial or commercial use. Hillsborough's Board of County Commissioners voted unanimously to challenge the law in court, seeking clarity on its constitutionality and any other conflicts with Florida statutes. That single statute, enacted in 22.3, challenged in 22.5, could determine where thousands of future units are built in the Tampa metro. The stakes are numeric. If even a fraction of old plazas and industrial parcels convert to housing, supply climbs. If the law stalls, projects stall. Tampa's own forecast shows a projected 3.6% decline in 2026, yet its retail market just ranked second out of 43 metros assessed on occupancy, availability, rent growth, sales volume shifts, and total return. The split is stark. Strong retail fundamentals alongside a cooling for-sale market. Shift to Miami, where developers are recalibrating their capital stacks more than their ambitions. Since the Fed began raising rates in 2022, borrowing costs climbed and deals got harder to pencil. Developers describe a market that is tough, but workable with the right tools. One strategy has been to target workforce housing near universities and transit while financing with private activity bonds. That tax-advantaged instrument lowers financing costs and can bridge the gap when traditional loans are too blunt for the current cycle. A project near Florida International University is underway, backed by partners who have funded 2 other nearby buildings built by the same team. The formula mixes middle-class rents with high design finishes and a financing package that can absorb rate volatility. In a city where cranes draw a skyline and sellouts once set records, the pivot from ultra-luxury to attainable housing adds resilience. The number to watch here is not a price index. It's the cost of capital and the pace at which private activity bonds can be placed. Florida's condo market deserves a frank accounting. After the Surfside tragedy, statewide safety measures mandated stronger reserves for maintenance and timelier inspections. Those rules raised monthly costs by way of special assessment fees. The burden landed most heavily on older buildings and on owners who bought during the pandemic's price highs. With insurance premiums rising at the same time, the total carrying cost elevated beyond what many buyers had planned. The result? Statewide median listing prices fell 6% in the first half of 2025 compared to the first half of 2023, and condo sales led much of the downward move. In metros like Tampa, Deltona, Northport, and Cape Coral, 22.6 projections point to further declines of 3.6 to 10.2%. That is a reset bought by necessity, safety, and the financing to fund it. The two-speed market is perhaps clearest in Naples. On Mooring Line Drive, a contemporary waterfront estate listed for $17,959,000, built in December 2022 by a local builder and designed by a noted interiors firm, it offers 6,900 square feet of living space and 6 bedrooms. There are 6 full baths and 3 half baths. The property sits 0.4 of a mile from the beach, with bridge-free Gulf access through Doctor's Pass. It has concrete block construction, hurricane impact windows and doors, electric hurricane shutters, and motorized entry gates. Inside, 14-foot ceilings frame oak floors and wood-paneled reverse tray ceilings, 12-foot sliders open to a pool and spa, a summer kitchen, a sun deck with a built-in fire pit and a fireplace. Boating amenities include dual lifts, one rated for a 30-foot boat and 16,000 pounds, and a second for 2 jet skis. The elevator is private. The gas tank is buried. The landscaping is lush and native. That list is not excess. It is an asset class doing what it does when capital is abundant. Drive north into North Naples and the Palisades Enclave offers a curated counterpoint to the broader market's cooling. On a 12-acre site with only 12 home sites left, a new Palm Springs model just opened. It spans 5,335 square feet of living area, 7,771 total, with 5 bedrooms, a study, and a clubroom. There are 5 full baths and 3 half baths. An oversized 3-car garage anchors the entry. The kitchen pairs paneled Sub-Zero and Wolf appliances with a waterfall island and a natural stone backsplash. The master bath sets honed marble floors against a soaking tub and a shower with 4 shower heads. Outside, electric roll-down screens guard a lanai built around a custom pool with a water feature wall and a spa. A stone fireplace and turf lounge finish the scene. In an inventory-light pocket, the numbers of luxury still add up. It's a Florida story in 2 chapters sitting miles apart. Then there's what's on the way. On Gulf Shore Drive in North Naples, a members-only beach club is planned on approximately 1.35 acres for $22.73. The concept includes 3 restaurants, fine dining plus an open-air bar and grill with covered balconies, and a low-profile structure designed to preserve viewing corridors for neighbors and pedestrians. There will be resort-style pools, private cabanas, a wellness spa, and beachside saltwater pools with yoga and massages. Membership opens to anyone, but there will be no on-site parking. A dedicated shuttle will carry members and staff, with exceptions only for those with special needs. The choices are precise: 1.35 acres, 3 restaurants, 0 parking stalls, to keep the footprint small and the coast accessible. It's amenity building designed for a denser Naples. Statewide, economic engines are still turning. In South Florida, in both 2024 and 2025, the top 5 fastest-growing companies with revenues over $25 million came from the same 3 spheres: healthcare, construction, and financial services. In Tampa, retail performance ranked second among 43 markets after measuring percent leased, availability, market rent growth, change in sales volume, and total return via a price index. In Orange Park, a $26 million freestanding ER expands a network that now includes more than 350 similar facilities across the state. Those figures signal job growth, people moving, and employers betting on Florida's long-term demand. They also intersect with today's housing math. More jobs support rents and retail, but rising insurance and fees dampen what buyers can pay for a mortgage. The causal chain is not mysterious. During the pandemic, people came. In metro after metro, prices leapt. Cape Coral posted gains of roughly 65 to 70%, until it didn't. As mortgage rates climbed starting in 22, monthly payments climbed, insurance premiums rose, condo assessments rose. Buyers adjusted, sellers adjusted. Some owners listed swelling inventory. In Cape Coral, an analysis recorded a 7.1% annual price drop in September. Across Florida, median listing prices fell 6% in the first half of 2025 against the same months in 2023. By 2026, projections show declines of 3.6 to 10.2% in 4 Florida metros. That is the "what happened" stamped with dates and percent signs. Why persists in another set of numbers. Condo assessments tied to new safety rules landed on top of insurance premiums already rising. In markets like Tampa and Deltona, the projected 3.6% decline reflects affordability strain more than demand disappearance. In Northport and Cape Coral, 8.9 and 10.2% declines project a sharper reversion after the most extreme pandemic-era gains. The backdrop is a national expectation of 2.2% price growth in 2026. The signal embedded in these differences is geographic. Coastal Florida bears more of the insurance and assessment burden than the nation on average. The state's statewide median listing price, down 6% in the first half of 2025 compared to 2023, captures that pressure rolling through the market. Who is affected? Owners of older condos facing special assessments feel it first. Buyers who cap their monthly budget at a certain mortgage payment find less room as insurance premiums press higher. Sellers who anchored to 2020.1 pricing must realign as listings sit longer and offers fade. In Cape Coral, large run-ups and storm disruptions layered into today's decline numbers. In Tampa and Deltona, a projected 3.6% setback reads as an affordability recalibration rather than a collapse. In Northport, where prices are forecast to fall 8.9%, the dynamic likely reflects both insurance pressure and the echo of pandemic moves. Signals suggest that some owners will step to the sidelines, while others list into a market where buyers are regaining leverage. The leverage shows up as price cuts, builder incentives, and concessions. In Cape Coral, local association leaders expect more selection and reduced prices in 2026, alongside builder and seller incentives aimed at meeting the new math. The ripple effects cross sectors. Builders are still acquiring land for large communities. 1,200 new homes are planned in Lakewood Ranch, and they are adapting their financing. In Miami, private activity bonds are in the toolkit to lower borrowing costs for workforce housing. Those tax-advantaged bonds can make the difference between a project breaking ground or waiting out rates. Lenders adjust underwriting to include higher HOA dues and special assessments in the debt-to-income calculation. Insurers continue repricing risk after years of storm losses, pushing policyholders to shop, to self-insure with higher deductibles, or to exit certain buildings. Retail landlords in Tampa's second-ranked market benefit from strong occupancy and rising rents, even as for-sale housing cools. County governments invest in safety hardware, 258 AEDs in Lee County, with 70 to 3 dedicated to parks, anticipating 20 to 30 emergency calls a year in these public spaces. Each number tells a piece of the same story: recalibration, not retreat. In Miami and across South Florida, densification continues. Developers emphasize both spectacular luxury and attainable housing for a year-round community. One team has broken ground on a new building near Florida International University, adding to 2 other completed projects in that same market. The product is designed for the middle class and for students, with floor plans and finishes meant to feel high design without high-end pricing. Financing uses private activity bonds to shave borrowing costs through tax relief. The lesson is practical. Deals still work when the capital stack gets creative. In a cycle where traditional lenders hesitate and rate moves sting, tax-advantaged bonds can fill the gap. Policy sets the boundaries. The Live Local Act, passed in 2010-3, opens the door to housing on sites previously restricted to commercial or industrial uses. In Hillsborough County, leaders voted unanimously to challenge that law's constitutionality. That court timetable could influence timelines for projects throughout the Tampa area. Parallel to that, energy policy is on the docket. One proposal seeks to extend the offshore drilling moratorium through 2032 by codifying a prior executive order. The direct link to home prices is not explicit, but signals suggest coastal policy shapes sentiment around long-term investment on the water. In North Naples, a private beach club planned for 2027 on 1.35 acres underscores the market demand for coastal amenities, even as regulations and protections evolve. The Tampa retail market's second-place ranking among 43 cities acts as a counterweight to for-sale cooling. Vacancy stays low when the percentage of inventory leased is high. Availability falls when tenants expand. Rent growth turns positive when demand outpaces supply. Sales volume shifts, and total return, measured by a market price index, round out a scorecard of strength. Those are the metrics used in the ranking. The connection to housing isn't abstract. A strong retail core adds to the livability and resilience of a metro. The numbers matter. Second out of 43 and a large base, over 100 million square feet in each assessed market, means the ranking is not an outlier. At the same time, Tampa's projected 3.6% home price decline in 22.6 sets expectations for buyers and sellers. Demand remains. Affordability rules it. In Lee County, the investment in public safety, 258 ADs, 70 to 3 of them in parks, reveals a county preparing for the everyday emergencies that come with growth. Emergency medical services respond to 20 to 30 cardiac-related calls in park locations each year. Those are small numbers on a giant state scorecard, but they are the numbers that keep parks open, families at ease, and communities viable. Infrastructure and services don't eliminate insurance pressures, but they do sustain quality of life. The same goes for healthcare capacity. A 26 million freestanding emergency room opening in Orange Park, part of a network of more than 350 such facilities across Florida, adds a measurable layer of resilience. Zoom back to the projection chart. Cape Coral, negative 10.2% in 2026. North Port Tension, 10.8.29. Deltona, negative 3.6. Tampa, negative 3.6. Nationally, plus 2.2. The gap is geographic. Statewide median listing prices already ran 6% lower in the first half of 2025 versus 2023. An analysis logged a 7.1% annual price fall in Cape Coral in September. Local leaders there estimate overall declines of 5 to 10% in recent years after the boom. The mechanics are clear. Higher carrying costs mean fewer buyers at prior price points. More owners list, inventory softens prices. Relief shows up first in cooling markets. Signals suggest 2026 will be a buyer's year in parts of Florida. What does a buyer's year look like? More listings, longer days on market, more concessions. In Cape Coral, local leaders anticipate more selection and reduced prices in 26, along with builder and seller incentives. Sellers who price strategically up front avoid deeper cuts later. Builders in communities like Lakewood Ranch pace releases across 1,200 homes to suss out demand. Condo boards budget around mandated inspections and hard choices on reserve funding. Owners weigh special assessments against sale prices. The math is shared. When costs go up, values adjust. Who stands to benefit first? Households that were outbid in 2020 to TS1 and 22.2 on three-bedroom homes in metros like Tampa and Northport. In those markets, projected declines of 3.6 and 8.9% can translate to five-figure price movements. Buyers shopping condos will see affordability hinge on monthly HOA dues and special assessments more than list price. Even a modest reduction in assessments can widen the pool of qualified buyers. Sellers should watch the first 2 weeks on market. Stale listings require larger price cuts later. In 26 projections, a 3.6 to 10.2% shift implies deals come together when expectations move with the data. Where are the bright spots? Luxury remains its own planet. Naples listings at $17,959 with 6,900 square feet and 14-foot ceilings will trade on scarcity more than rate sheets. New coastal amenities like the North Naples Beach Club, 1.35 acres, 3 restaurants, no on-site parking, dedicated shuttle, target a member base that buys experiences as much as addresses. Tampa's retail core, ranked second among 43 major markets, reinforces neighborhood vitality even as for-sale prices recalibrate. South Florida's densification carries forward, with workforce projects near Florida International University funded by private activity bonds and backed by partners who have stayed through multiple cycles. The strategy is patience and structure. 2 buildings delivered, a third under construction, with financing that tolerates volatility. There is one more policy thread with the potential to upend the spreadsheet. A push to eliminate property taxes on owner-occupied homes would, if enacted, materially shift housing costs and valuations. While the outcome is not set, the impact would not be subtle. Removing annual property taxes from homeowners' budgets could raise what buyers can afford to pay by hundreds of dollars a month, quickly translating to higher market values. The magnitude of change would vary by county millage rates and price points, but the direction is obvious. In a state where 4 metros are projected to fall 3.6 to 10.2% in 2026, that single policy could reverse the slope. The base case for the next 12 months is steady normalization. Through December 2026, Florida's cooling metros, Cape Coral at negative 10.2%, Northport at negative 8.9%, Tampa and Deltona at negative 3.6%, work through affordability adjustments tied to insurance, HOA assessments, and the mortgage rate environment. Statewide median listing prices, already 6% lower in the first half of 22.5 than in the first half of 22.3, continue to find equilibrium. Tampa's retail market remains strong, ranked second among 43 heavyweights with 100 million square feet each, supporting neighborhood confidence even as home prices adjust. Luxury inventory in Naples and North Naples sells on its own terms, 6,900 square feet on Mooring Line Drive, 5,335 in Palisades, while middle-market builders pace deliveries in Lakewood Ranch and beyond. 2 watch items will shape the path. First, the cost stack for ownership, insurance premiums and condo association special assessments, needs close tracking through 22-2, 6 Bill 3. If premiums stabilize and assessments moderate as mandated work gets completed, monthly ownership costs fall and demand returns faster. If they rise, projected declines could deepen or extend. Second, the policy push to eliminate property taxes on owner-occupied homes bears monitoring across 22.6. If enacted, the immediate effect could be a rapid increase in home values as buyers reprice affordability. If it stalls, the market continues its current trajectory of modest declines in the affected metros. Florida's housing market is not breaking, it is bending toward balance. The numbers: minus 10.2% in Cape Coral, minus 8.9% in Northport, minus 3.6% in Tampa and Deltona, down 6% statewide in the first half of 2020, translate to less frenzy and more negotiation. At the same time, a $17,959 listing in Naples, a 1,200-home plan in Lakewood Ranch, a $26 million ER in Orange Park, and 258 ADs across Lee County mark a state still building, still investing, still growing. Opportunity remains. It simply looks different than it did in 2022. If you're watching this from a kitchen table in Cape Coral, a condo in Tampa, or a lease near Florida International University, the next move is the same. Run the numbers, watch the costs, and price with discipline. If you want more grounded breakdowns like this, built on dates, places, and hard numbers, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next deep dive.